A few weeks ago, I got reached out by this client of mine that I worked with in the past about a startup project. What he wanted was a few 1-minute ads for YouTube and one main Kickstarter campaign. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you the final product because I'm still editing, but I'm gonna show you everything I had to go through the day throughout this full day shoot, because I had one person in my team to help out with everything and moving lights and stuff and recording all the BTS that you guys are gonna see in this video. But it was pretty much a one-man band show because I had to direct, I had to organize, I had to set design, I had to shoot, I had to do everything. And you know, when you have a smaller budget that you can't afford to get more people on set, this is the things that we go through, and I'm sure some of you will go through this as well. So I want to show you guys the behind the scenes of what I had to go through during this full day shoot. We had very limited time available because the client was flying out the next day. So we had this one full day shoot, and we had to shoot the two main actors doing the whole thing throughout the sequences, and we have 4 hours for each actor. So hopefully we're going to start at 8 till 12, have like an hour's break, and then 1 until 5. That was kind of the day. So I turned up at 7 and started setting up everything and hoping that the location was already ready, which obviously wasn't because it never is. So it took a bit longer to set up everything, and we started shooting around 9:30. So already straight off the batch, I was like, well, it is a bit late, but we're gonna push it and we're gonna try and fit everything within the client's schedule. The product that we were shooting was a mirror, and it is very tricky. I've never actually shot a mirror before, and I actually realized how tricky it is because you don't only have to clean up the main set, the main area we're gonna shoot, but also you have to clean up whatever is in the background that reflects in the mirror, and that also has to be nice. So you always have to think about the main set where the mirror is, and then the background, which is wherever the mirror is reflecting. And another thing is that I thought we're gonna have 2 actors for 4 hours and 4 hours. We started the shoot at 9:30, only having 2.5 hours with the first one, and then finding out that the second one only actually had 2 hours. So it ended up being like a 5-hour shoot for this specific YouTube ad campaign, which is not enough. And I had to make so many different things work that I actually didn't think it was gonna work. But this is the life of a solo filmmaker when you don't have a budget to have a producer, and when the client wants to get everything shot in the same day. We have to go through these things and understand the client and just make it work, because this is why they're hiring us. This is why they're choosing our professionality, and they just pretty much want the job done with the money they have available, and we gotta make it work. Even though it sucks, sometimes instead of having, you know, I wanted to have a few scenes where I had maybe 2 or 3 lights, but it just wasn't the time to set up everything. So I had to use a tube light instead to make things fast, to get rolling and to just get the shot instead of getting the best shot possible. Getting to a more technical part of this video. For this shoot, we used this Filmmaker 225 bicolor, which is the main key light that always lights me on my YouTube video, with a big softbox and a grid. This was the main key light. And then we used the Filmmaker 125, also bicolor, I think. And we used that as a second light, just as a fill light, to just create a bit more of an even look throughout the scene. The look the client wanted was very clean, very natural, very classic ads, nothing too cinematic, nothing too crazy, at least for the main scenes, which were shot on the tripod, which is this tripod here, which is a Siri video tripod. And I shot the whole video, the whole commercial on my Sony a7S III with either the RX 45mm, which is a beautiful lens for stills shots because it just looks nice and creamy. I don't like to move it around too much because it does get very shaky without a tripod or without a slider or without a gimbal. And it's also a one-man band production, which means it's pretty hard to manual focus by myself, and it just adds things that I don't need when I'm already stressed about making the client happy with the timeline that we have. So we use the RX 45mm for most of the tripod shots, and then we use the Sigma 24-70 with autofocus for pretty much anything else. We then moved to the second part of this production, which was the part where the girl and also the guy were pretty sad, depressed, and in this 15 to 20 seconds they had to fill with depressing and sad shots. So for the girl, we went in the bedroom and we used a tube light to light this whole sequence where she's on their phone and then she's sitting on this couch. We pretty much used natural light and the tube light for all of these shots because we didn't have time to move the big key light all around the house, and it was just easier. So mostly our shot handheld on a tripod and with a slider. I decided to use a slider because I actually kind of like the perfectly even effect, and then we got in these two shots, for example. They just look very nice, natural, very professional. And yes, you can get the same shots on a gimbal, but if you use a slider, you can just get the perfect precision of movement, which I really enjoy and I really like. Then we moved on to doing the guy scene in the same bedroom, and for this one, it's one of my favorite shots out of the whole day because it was one of the most creative shots, and it's pretty much him laying in bed and getting stressed, getting depressed, having a girl turn around from him. So to get these shots, I wanted to get a top-down shot, so I rented a C-stand, and it wasn't long enough, so we had to kind of make him lay in the wrong side of the bed, but it worked out perfectly. Again, lit it with a tube light because that's all we had available in that moment. And we made it work, and I think it turned out pretty good. Then, another shot that I actually really enjoyed lighting and creating was this other side, which was the warm, relaxed, beautiful side of things. And what I wanted to recreate here was different time of the days. So we were first in the main area, which is like bright daylight pretty much, and then we went to the bedroom, which was like night, evening kind of vibes, and then we went into more of like a morning feeling. And to get this, since obviously it was just shot throughout the day, we didn't wait for any particular light. Again, I used the 225 bicolor light by Filmmaker outside of the window, pointed inside of the window through the curtains, and what I did, I just took away the softbox and made this beautiful early morning light. I don't have a funnel, I don't have a spotlight attachment or anything like that, so I just literally just took away the softbox and made it work, and it worked pretty well, to be honest. We got some very nice shots, very creamy, very soft, very beautiful looking shots, and I'm very happy how these turned out. Another very interesting shot that somehow it kind of worked out because we pretty much had no time left, so I had to rush doing everything. It was this one shot, which was a one-take shot on a tripod of the main actor opening the door to this guy dressed up as Money. And it was very challenging because it was very bright. It was about, I think, 2 p.m. outside. So it was very bright, it was sunny. It was very challenging to kind of make it work with the kind of light we had inside. So I tried to light this up with different kind of settings, but I just didn't have enough time to test around. So what I did, I just, again, left the softbox out and just shined the most powerful light I could out of the 225 forward light and create this very contrasty look. I put the temperature down because this was a scene that needed to be very contrasty, to be very like, kind of like showing how annoyed the guy, the main actor, is at the fact that Money keeps turning up to his door. So to create this, I use this light and use a very hard light, very harsh, very contrasty. And then whenever he opens the door, outside is beautiful, it's sunny, it's warm. So I wanted to create this contrast here, and I think it turns out pretty well. And again, I exposed for the highlights outside using the monitor false colors just to make sure nothing was overexposed, and then I pretty much made it work for the inside. And yeah, I think the shots turned out pretty well. After all of these shots are done, we're pretty much happy with everything we got. Even though we weren't able to get absolutely everything I wanted to get, I think I was kind of happy, and we didn't have any more time, so I was like, well, this is kind of it. We're gonna make it work. So we had to move to a different studio where we had to shoot the Kickstarter campaign video, which is pretty much just like the client talking and explaining what the product is, and then I'm gonna overlay a bunch of footage that we shot throughout the day. So we went to this podcast studio nearby and kind of teared it apart, and we shot towards this one angle which looked the best to me. Again, use the same key light, put a mirror next to him, and just create a bit of contrast using the light that I'm using right now to light behind me, which is this RGB video light. very generic, nothing special. And we used that to create a bit of contrast using a bit of turquoise, just to have a bit of like pretty much what I'm doing right now, I'd say, with a bit of turquoise as a kind of like a hair side light, and then the main key light having my fill word 225. So yeah, this was the setup, and we just filmed them. Same setup as now. I use a audio recorder as a microphone. I've actually been using this for a little bit, and I feel like it sounds the same as my microphone, so it's just so much less hassle. So why not? Overall, it was a very hectic and intense shoot, but I think I was pretty happy with everything that we captured, and I was very glad that we made it work. And shout out to my team for coming along, getting all this BTS for you guys. And I think I actually want to make a bit more of these videos, BTS, of my commercial shoots, because I think it's very insightful for you guys to just check out the way I work. Because to me, honestly, it is one of my favorite videos to watch, to just watch people work and see the way they act on set, see the way they light things, see the way they shoot things, why they're shooting things like this. So I think it's a very, very interesting concept, and I want to recreate that myself as well. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. Leave a like, subscribe, all those things that YouTubers do. And I'll see you guys in the next video, and welcome to 2024, even though I'm recording this in 2023. Also, right now, as you've seen this, I'm in Sri Lanka, and I might be cooking up something cool from Sri Lanka. Even though it's a holiday, I want to make something, because you can't just go to Sri Lanka and don't make anything. So it might just be the next video coming out on this channel. Probably is. So see you guys in the next one.